Welcome to the official podcast where the bombs get thrown. I'm your host, Shayla Bogan, and I introduce to you the Mike Bomb Podcast.
This is my night, this is my pain, this is my life, this is what I was born to do, I was born to do, every new day, every new night, every new stage, every new fight, this is what I was born to do, I was born to do, fall to my knees every night and I pray, asking Lord let him hear, I got something to say, there's a fear out there and it's coming your way, don't let it stop you from living for what you were made, it's not a dream, it's a destiny.
Hey, welcome to the Mike Bomb Podcast. This is your host, Shayla, and yes, I am going solo for this episode, but I am not coming alone as I am joined now by my very special guest, Miss Chiefs Kingdom herself, Lexi Osborne. Lexi, introduce yourself to the audience.
Hey, what's up? I'm Lexi. How are you guys? Good to be with you,
Hey.
Shay. Finally, we make this happen.
Yeah, sometimes I hate technology, but obviously
Don't we all?
yeah. But it's like, obviously there's so much to talk about because this has been a massive year for you. And it's been a massive year for Chiefs Kingdom. It's been a massive year for NFL. And obviously the season is right around the corner. Preseason's already gotten started. A lot of teams are showing life. Some teams haven't took a step. So it's incredible. But obviously the team to beat is your fellow Kansas City Chiefs. And it's
correct.
And it's awesome. It's awesome for you guys. Obviously your thing that's just so surprising about your era is that no one's seen this coming. Everyone had my Steelers at one point, everyone had the Patriots at one point, everyone was thinking that it was going to be the Patriots show because we never thought Tom Brady would ever retire from football, but
Ever.
Obviously we're glad that he did. So you know what? Let's get started. Before we get into your fellow Kansas City Chiefs, I gotta ask you about your podcast. It's called Kingdom Queens Podcast. To all of you who don't know, if you are a diehard Chiefs fan like my fellow guests here, then I would recommend you listening to that podcast as they will be covering your fellow Kansas City Chiefs all year round. So, how did that get started? What made you come up with this idea to create such a great platform like this? And talk about it.
Yeah, so I was actually approached to do the podcast last year about this time. And really it was because there are a ton of Chiefs podcasts, but there are really no just female Chiefs podcasts. So someone approached me to do it saying that they think that would be a good idea. And I never saw myself doing a podcast, especially like on football. I mean, or really on anything, but it was a little bit out of my comfort zone. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Why not just like give it a go? And so I messaged a few other girls that I thought would maybe be interested as well. And then Jody and Chrissy ended up being the ones that wanted to do it, and the chemistry has just flown between us three, and it's just been a great thing since we got it going, and we've really built up a great following, and it's just a lot of fun to talk Chiefs football every week with my girls and kind of give the female perspective of football that, there's so many, no offense to any of the dudes, there's just so many dude podcasts out there. So
yeah, it is. And it's time for the ladies to shine.
It is. So, and you know what, like you said, we're in such a great era of Chiefs football right now that why not just like take advantage of everything that's going on, take advantage of the opportunity. And so here we are. So yeah, we do Kingdom's Queens, and we go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central. And then we are available on Apple and Spotify as well. So, but we give you all the details on all things Chiefs, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it has been a great podcast. I actually appreciate you guys doing that because, like you said, it's too many fellows breaking down the game of football. It's time for the ladies to do it. It's time,
Exactly.
let's see what you guys have. And obviously, you three, like you said, is a great trio. And when you think of great trios and when you think of an all-female platform like Kingdom's Queens podcast, you think of the chemistry you guys have. You project, and that's obviously the goals you want to have. People who obviously will have may, time to time may have different perceptions on whatever the topic is, but obviously would just build such great, chemistry that it flows so well. And that's exactly what you and Jody and the other girls do. But it's a great podcast. I'm a
Thank
fan
you.
of
I
it.
appreciate I appreciate
I
that.
definitely subscribe to that, and I have it both on my Spotify and Apple account. And
Oh,
yes, I do
awesome.
have them.
We
But
appreciate
speaking,
that.
hey, it's all love this way. But speaking of your fellow Kansas City Chiefs, they bounced back. They're like like I already stated up here, on the podcast, is that they are the team to beat. Obviously, after an incredible 2022-2023 season, many people called this a bounce back year for the Chiefs, bounce back year for Patrick Mahomes. Adding Juju Smith-Schuster the previous offseason.
Yeah,
Add,
your Steeler guy.
yeah, yeah.
we
It
love
was
we
pretty
love
cool.
Juju.
Who couldn't, And
He's
then
awesome.
Travis Kelsey, let's just say Travis being Travis. That's what we're gonna call that.
Travis Kelsey.
And you have his shirt on right now. But give me your overall thoughts on the 2022-2023 season.
Yeah, so I think, like you said, the Chiefs were definitely expected to take a step back. And it's so funny because as Chiefs fans, we all knew we were going to have to endure an entire offseason of the controversy of Tyreek Hill leaving. And I mean, that was literally the storyline of our season, the entire season, where every single Chiefs game you would watch, they'd be like, oh, they're doing this without Tyreek Hill. They're winning without Tyreek. Every single game
Exactly.
you hear about him. I'm like, yeah, we are. Like, it's not. And I think we all knew that. Like, all Chiefs fans were like, we're going to be okay. I think some were a little bit weary on the wide receivers, but like you said, you have a guy like Travis Kelsey, and he's always going to come through. Like, Travis Kelsey is just magically always open, always. No one can guard him. Like, he's a magician himself. So the two of them together is just one of the most special things we're ever going to see in the NFL. It's like a Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady. It's like, Montana and Rice. I mean, it's just one of those like fantastic connections that will go on in history. And so I just say, as much as people love to hate the Chiefs right now, because I completely understand, because we keep winning, and it's it's not so fun to see all the time, but you got to also just appreciate greatness while you're in it. And that's what we're seeing with Andy Reid at the head coach, and then Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey. So I feel like last season, and then Juju, we've been wanting him to be a Chief for a few years now. And so he was such a welcomed addition last year. And he did so good. And then Marquez Valdez-Scantling was a nice little addition last year. And then Kadarius Toney out of nowhere from the Giants. Like, I know he has his injury struggles, he has his things, but he really came through for us clutch in the big moments last season. And so I just think 2022, here's my maybe annoying Chiefs fan opinion on it, is I think the league should not have let the Chiefs win the Super Bowl last season, because I think they're only going to get better. Our team was so young last year. Like, our entire secondary was rookies, like, for the most part. And then we had Justin Reed.
Except for Justin Reed.
Right. We had Justin Reed, and he was on the Texans, and he's a fantastic safety. But Steve Spagnuolo's defensive scheme is hard to learn. So I think it took him to like mid-season to even feel really comfortable. So I just know the way all of them are talking so far this season is like, they're on such a mission to be the next team to two-peat after the Patriots did in the early 2000s. And I think they all just like have such a fire within them. And I just think they're going to play a different level of football again this season. And I actually think our team has a chance to finally have a top 10 defense in the Mahomes era. So I'm really excited about all of that. I think all of our young guys are going to be great in their sophomore season, and they already won a Super Bowl. So that's going to be their expectation. And they're not going to want to not do, they're not going to want to do anything less than that again. So I'm excited. I think 2022 was. I knew we were going to be good, but wow, to win the Super Bowl, it's just incredible. So
Yeah,
that's where I'm at.
agree. I listen, as a Steeler fan, I 100% agree with you. Obviously, when you win one Super Bowl, you want to win them all, and that's really what it
Of
is. Like
course.
that's the spoil part about winning championships. Trust me, I get it over here. I'm still clocking on a day where I can get a Super Bowl parade in Pittsburgh again.
I
But
know.
I have a good feeling it's coming soon, like sooner than many people think. And we're gonna talk
Steelers,
about that.
they could be a little sleeper team this season.
Definitely. And we're going to talk about that a little bit heading into the show. But we spoke on the Super Bowl. And you know more than me that there has been a lot of excuses flying around when pretty
Whew.
much you shut everybody's mouths and you beat the best team other than yourselves that the league had to offer in the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we have talked about this. Obviously, there's one team, one fan base you and I both have in common who just needed to be shown up.
Oh
You
my
know,
goodness.
yeah. Do a whole lot of. I think it's like Shannon Sharp said it best. Do a whole lot of celebrating, a whole lot of talking. It ain't won nothing.
Nope.
Ain't won nothing. And I don't think that team, who we shall not mention, because I think our mentions are, filled enough with that fan base.
Oh,
Uh,
always. Every day.
yeah. Every day. It's like, whatever. Point being, that team came with a lot of excuses after the Burrowhead comment, after calling themselves the big dogs. Even though you went 3-3 in a reload and rebuilding AFC North Division, and for some reason your favorite this year so highly, and I don't know why, with every team getting better, but that's down the road. Anyways, let's get back to the Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles. They keep blaming the turf, blaming the grass, blaming the referees. What are your thoughts on the Eagles' comments about their loss to you guys in the Super Bowl, and your overall thoughts on Super Bowl 58? It was, if I'm not mistaken.
57, but yeah.
57.
This season will be 58. You know, I think it was actually a really, really good game overall. I think it was a very entertaining game. I think it was like a very enjoyable football game to watch. Obviously, I'm watching in like full stress mode, but I think the Super Bowl is when everyone watches, like so many people that don't ever watch football watch. And so I think for those purposes, it was a very entertaining game. Just a lot of fun plays, a lot of high scoring. Both offenses did really well. Both defenses could have done a lot better, but they did what they could, I guess. I think, my thoughts are we played on the same field as Philadelphia. They weren't switching out the grass during commercial breaks like everyone wants to claim. Like, I don't know why they're like, oh, if we would have had whatever grass, we would have been so much better. We would have won that game. I'm like, well, the Chiefs played on these same grass as you did, and they found a way to win with a quarterback that had a high ankle sprain. I mean, it's just so many excuses, and it gets really old really quick. I'm like, you can say woulda, coulda, shoulda for any game, any NFL game. You could say, oh, well, if we did this, then we would have won. Sure, yeah. If you would have done that, you would have won, but you didn't. So, like, I don't know what to tell you. But I think, I think the Chiefs won fair and square. People want to question that holding call at the end of the game all day long. And sure, it was a fortunate call in the Chiefs' favor, but people don't remember. I think people forget that Nick Bolton, he had one fumble recovery from Jalen Hurts that he ended up scoring on, and that was 6 points. And so that also, what I think is funny too is people are like, oh, like Jalen Hurts totally outplayed Patrick Mahomes during this game. And I do think Jalen Hurts played very, very well. I just think the Eagles kept our offense off of the field for most of the entire first half. Like, we weren't really out there, and that has to do with like us recovering that fumble recovery. And so that, it's like they're already making their way down the field. Then Nick Bolton does that. And so then it puts their offense back on the field and yada, yada. And then I think people forget, too, that Nick Bolton almost had another fumble recovery like 2 or 3 drives later. And it ended up being taken away. And I actually didn't agree with that call. But I think the Eagles got some very lucky calls their way, especially in the first half. But people forget about that because it's the first half and the Chiefs end up winning. And they just want to say, oh, well, the Chiefs got that lucky call at the end. Like, yeah, it might have been somewhat lucky, but at the end of the day, I mean, what are you going to do? I think the Chiefs did what they needed to do to win, and the Eagles had every chance to put it away too. So, but overall, I think it was a great game, and I'm very happy with it. But there's always going to be players and people that want to take away from the victory. So it is what it is. But we won fair and square.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's hard to disagree with that. If you watch the game and actually analyzed it, like you said, same turf, same field, same time. So it's like you heard a lot of it, and you still hear a lot of it from the Eagles. And the thing about this is, in my right opinion, is this: you mentioned that they changed they mentioned in their, not putting words in your mouth, but they are the ones who mentioned that they had to change their cleats numerous of times. They had to do this, do that because the turf and conditions. But at the end of the day, that's not on the Chiefs. That's on whoever job it is to have the field ready
Right.
for you to play, And to me, that was a holding call. We watched that 3 to 4 times before the show. And I wish I would have had it up here, but you know what? Who needs it right now?
And
They know exactly what we're talking about.
What's funny about it too is if you actually watch it from like the all 22 angle, you can actually see Marquez Valdez-Scantling on that same where Juju gets called, where they get called for the hold. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is on the other side being held even worse than Juju is. So I'm like, these guys are holding all over the field and just didn't get called for it. And then they just didn't like it when they were called for it. So, I mean, that's just how it goes. There's going to be calls that don't always go your way, but I think if you're an actual football fan and you're watching that, like it was a hold, and it is what it is. And yeah, like you said, the cleats, the excuses are just, I mean, the players that still talk about it, it's like the Chiefs played on the same field. I just think it's hilarious. And like, it almost looks dumb that you're still making that excuse. So just, just get over it and, go try again the next year.
Yeah. And you know what? The thing about the Eagles, with the incredible draft that they had this year, they're going, I think they're going to be back. Obviously, this
Honestly.
won't be, to me, this won't be the last Chiefs and Eagles matchup we see on that stage. Maybe different stadium, but not that stage.
It'd be fun to go again next season with them. I mean, I would hope we could win again, but I think the NFC is so wide open right now. The Eagles can easily go back.
Yeah. I don't see no team in the NFC more favored than them. I don't.
No.
You could say the 49ers. You could say I don't know why we're saying the Cowboys. I really don't. I don't see no miraculous moves the Cowboys made. Yes, is Tony Pollard back in Dallas? I'm not even sure, but I know Ezekiel Elliott could be, he's a good second down back, and he's not there.
Yeah,
like you said, he's gone. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb might just be in West Bubble hell by himself. Offensive line is still question marks in Dallas. Dak Prescott does he have it in him to take that next step? The Giants, I don't see going back at all. I don't see it. And don't get me started on the Commanders, who still can't even come up with an actual name and proper ownership. So there goes their division. And then let's look at the rest of the conference. The Rams, I guess we're going to have to watch and see them. Losing Jalen Ramsey could definitely hurt, but anyone could could make something out of nothing would be Sean McVay. But we talking about the NFC, we need to go back to the AFC real quick, because we got to get your thoughts on this. This is one of the ultimate reasons why I brought you up here.
Yes.
Let it away. What were your thoughts on the AFC Championship and the excuses that you heard from this game?
It's always excuses. Like, no matter when the Chiefs win now, it's always an excuse. And that's how you know the Chiefs are at the top, is because any team we play, it's like, oh, well, the ref made this call, so that's the only reason why the Chiefs won. The Chiefs are in the ref's pockets now. That's why, which I think is hilarious. But with the Bengals, that's become such a, well, you couldn't hardly even call it a rivalry until we beat them in the AFC Championship game, because they did keep beating us when it was Patrick Mahomes versus Joe Burrow. So now, granted, we play each other's defenses, and like I said, Chiefs have not had a top 10 defense ever in Mahomes' era. And the Bengals, low-key, have one of the best defenses in the league, in my opinion, which you probably could agree with, since you face them twice a year. But they just know how to scheme up the Chiefs really well, like almost better. I would say better than any other team in the league right now. The Bengals defense challenges the Chiefs the most. And so I think it was a really big hurdle to get over. And they all want to say, oh, we're rent-free in your head. Like, that's just the Bengals fans. And then the disrespect to call it Burrowhead instead of Arrowhead. And then their stupid mayor that was declared that Joe Burrow needed to take a paternity test to confirm he was Patrick Mahomes' father. I mean, just the weirdest stuff. I'm like, I've never heard anything like that. It was the weirdest thing ever. I couldn't believe it. But I was like, you know what? This is all the fire the Chiefs need to go into this game. And then you also have like every media person, everyone in the media is picking the Bengals to win. Picking Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty. He's so cool. He's going to go in there and win. Right. And, I was like, I think they are going to win this game. Like, I just knew the Chiefs were like not going to deal with that disrespect. And it's always going to be close when we play the Bengals. It's never not stressful. I'm literally just sitting there like in agony. I mean, it's like, it's not even fun to watch our games for me when we play the Bengals, because it's so much stress. But and it's so funny because they all want to get mad about this call that gave us like another try on a 4th downs. They're like, oh, what about your 5th down you got? I'm like, literally it did nothing for us. That drive still resulted in a punt. So you're so mad about a call that didn't do anything to impact the game. And then, so I'd understand like if that led to a touchdown or something, but it didn't lead to anything. So it's just hilarious to me, all the excuses they come up with. And then the last call on Osai, that he pushed Mahomes out of bounds. While he was out of bounds, he pushed him. You can't do that. And they all want to say that was like, oh my gosh, such a lucky call. Oh, Mahomes totally like leaned into that. He acted on that. I'm like, no, like you can see where his feet are. He is out of bounds and your player pushes him out even further. And you just can't.
Like an idiot.
Well, you can't do that when the quarterback's out of bounds. You just can't. So it resulted in a 1st down and a 15-yard penalty. But that was well-deserved. You can't do that. So like we say, anything can happen in these games, and you can what if it all day long. But for the Bengals, I feel for them. The only thing they have is 3-1 on Patrick Mahomes. So I get it. They're excited but that's all they have. And so they have to run with it. And they've had a long off season, I'm sure. And then now Joe Burrow is a little injured. So I don't know, but yeah, I think it was a great game. It was such a thrilling victory. I mean, and what's funny is too, you have players like, and we can talk about this too, but players like Tyler Boyd who say if he was in, they would have won, right? Well, I'm like, okay, we lost our starting cornerback, L'Jarius Sneed, on like the first drive. We lost Juju Smith-Schuster. We lost Justin. Like, we lost half of our wide receivers. We had Marquez, Travis Kelce, and Marcus Kemp, which you probably don't even know who Marcus Kemp is. And those were our like receivers for most of the game. So it's just funny to me that they say, oh, well, if I was in, we would have won, or if whatever, I'm like, we played with like a bunch of backups and Travis Kelce. And like, I don't know what you're It's just
Exactly.
funny. So, but it was a sweet victory.
Definitely. You know what? I jumped in the air for y'all as if my team was the team that won.
I love
And
it.
it's because they get on my damn nerves. People think, oh, you know, you're a Steeler fan, blah 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 blah. First of all, it's a diehard Steeler fan to you. That's number one. And then number two, it's just if I wasn't a Steeler fan, I would still highly despise them and their fans more than any team in sports. Forget the NFL,
I
forget the
know.
AFC, any team in sports. See, I see, and this is the thing. And then you have some Steeler fans who defend these idiots because they're like, oh, they're excited. You act like we wasn't there before, buddy. Our expectations are what they are because of what we're known for doing. Vice versa with
The
the
Steelers are
Patriots.
known to be a winning organization.
Exactly. No, just like you guys are now. No, it's either Super Bowl or it's nothing. That's the that's the pros, but the cons of being a championship winning team.
Yeah.
The problem that I have with the Bengals and their fans. See, I would have understood if you would have won the Super Bowl 56, but you lost.
You lost.
You lost. And the thing that just bugs me is this. I heard more Who Days than I've heard Let's Go Bucks, Chiefs Kingdom, and Ram House in the past 3 years combined. I heard
know.
more talking from Eli Apple and Mike Hilton
Oh my
and
gosh.
others than I heard from Jalen Ramsey, than I heard from Justin Reed, than I heard from Devin White, all combined. But you want to know the difference? They're Pro Bowlers, they're first team All Pros, they're Super Bowl champion defensive players. You ain't Jack, and you out here talking as if you won it all when you won nothing. This is the cons of going and losing. You
really how
don't
they
get
view
credited for
themselves.
the you don't get credited for losing the Super Bowls. You don't. That's the cons of being the loser. You're in the same boat as the other 30 teams that were sitting home watching. You
Yep.
want to know why? Because you didn't win it either. And the differences between you and those other 30 teams, you were there and you still couldn't get it done, which means you have no reason. You have no excuse. And you know what? Speaking of that game, they did a whole hell of a lot talking heading into that game.
Oh my
running their mouth
gosh.
about Jalen Ramsey, running their mouth about Cooper Kupp. And the thing that pissed me off the most, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins got more damn credit, and Tyler Boyd got more damn credit than Cooper Kupp, who was the MVP and the Offensive Player of the Year
Thank you.
and was a Super Bowl champion. I don't understand. Don't tell me media favoritism doesn't exist when you got stuff like that happening.
Let me tell you, can I just go into that real quick? I want to say it is insane to me how I've never, now I'm kind of going back to the Eagles here too. I've never seen, we're at such a level of Chiefs haters that I've never seen losers get so much credit for what they did.
For losing.
Like, we are crediting the Eagles for losing. And you would think, okay, so what's interesting to me is, you know, the Bengals lost the Super Bowl. The Rams are the ones
they got credited more than the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and the Eagles had better performance.
You would literally think the Bengals and the Eagles won the last two Super Bowls by the way that they are treated after they've lost. When the Chiefs lost, now granted, we lost really badly in that Super Bowl 54. I don't even want to talk about it, but
you said it, not me.
We lost really badly. I can admit that, right? And it was not great. But the way we were talked about after, it was like the Chiefs are completely broken. Like they're never going to go back. They're never, you know, and it's like, I understand we lost pretty badly. There was a lot going on, you know. 2 days before the Super Bowl, Andy Reid's son had all that drama. And that, I think, honestly, was one of our biggest downfalls. Of like when that happened, I was like, this isn't going to be good. Andy Reid is going to be distracted. Our team is going to be distracted, and it's not going to be good. Not to mention our O-line was like completely backups, and the Bucks defense is like one of the best I've seen in years. And when we played them, it's just funny the narratives that come after.
Yeah, did not, did not get credited enough.
No.
It's just going back to that AFC Championship game. See, I'm glad everybody say that they knew after the Burrowhead comments from Mike Hilton, and the idiotic mayor, that
Oh my
the
God.
Bengals were going to
So,
lose that game. But
yeah.
honestly, the Bengals shocked me that Buffalo game because I ain't see them getting out of Buffalo. But I knew when I rewatched film about the throws that Josh Allen missed. Forget his interceptions. We get that part. But Josh Allen missed a lot of throws.
He
Josh
did.
Allen missed
He was
wide
terrible.
open. Yeah, missed wide open Stephon Diggs. And Eli Apple doing all this talking as if he locked him up. No, you ain't locked him up. And then you had, former Bengal safety, now current Falcon, safety Jesse Bates
Yeah.
saying, oh, yes. Saying, oh, I hope he's healthy. Therefore, there wouldn't be no excuses. We'll be ready. But, buddy, you was not ready for that 4th and 1, that 15-yard touchdown on that 4th and 1. You cannot do talking like that. Have
Nope.
your fans chirping that you're better than Minka Fitzpatrick and you're better than Dorn James, and then you get beat like that in a crucial moment when you and Mike Hilton was doing all the talking.
All that
Eli
talking.
Apple doing all the talking. Joe Burrow even had a lot to say. And it's like, you got to think about all of that. And I'm going to keep it real. The Bengals did not back it up at all. They did not back it up. And they want to talk about the referees. But I'm going to tell you right now, if it wasn't for the referees, they would have got their ass handed to them in that AFC Championship game. Because let me remind you, your boy went 1 for 2. He was supposed to have another 1 for 4 game. Another 1 for 4 game that you walked into, 1 favor to win. 2, referee, your fans doing all the damn talking. Week 1 against the Steelers. Week 1 against the Steelers, you went 1 for 4 doing all the talking. Pick 6 to Minka Fitzpatrick, and boy, I could watch that play all day. But anyway, but then it's like, if it wasn't for the referees, you would have had another one of those games. Let's talk about the BS neutral infraction called on Chris Jones, the pass interference call on your rookie cornerback. That was 2 interceptions that was taken away, and Joe Burrow still had another 1 for 2 game. And that part does not get highlighted. Yes.
And then there was one that was called back. I'm like, referees don't throw interceptions.
2 that were called back that game. Yeah. 2 of them. And I'm
2
like,
2 that were called back and 2 that were taken. Yeah, it was crazy.
And it's like, you cannot go 1 for 2. Perform the way you perform. Your offensive line being horrific damn near every game this year. First thing first, you wasn't even supposed to get out of Cincinnati. Let's go there. You want to talk about the referees, how they missed that BS, how they missed that damn call when Sam Hubbard, correct me, was returning that. They missed that call that was supposed to benefit Mark Andrews. They missed that. Because that was a clear interference.
Yes, you're right.
Yep. The referees helped you with that one.
They
then
never want to
about the
acknowledge
missed throws.
Nope,
they don't want to acknowledge that.
Nope.
They don't want to acknowledge also this, ladies and gentlemen, that let's talk about the fact that if Josh Allen would have not missed those damn throws, you would have been out of Buffalo. You would have been out of here. You would have been gone. Listen. Joe Burrow was the better quarterback that game because he made the throws Josh Allen missed.
Yeah, he was.
Jamar Chase, T. Higgins were the better receivers because they took advantage of the overall stupidity. Give credit when it's due. But Eli Apple, you should have been talking. You should have not been talking at all. Oh, yeah, Cancun on 3. All this other garbage. Mike Hilton, we'll see y'all in Burrowhead winning only 1 game out of 5 matchups. It's,
unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. You've only won 1 game in Arrowhead, and you out here talking.
1. Literally 1.
If it wasn't for the Cleveland Browns, they would have the least amount of wins in Arrowhead out of the entire AFC North Division. And I don't think they understand that. And they don't understand this. They did all this talking about owning the division, owning the conference, but here's the facts of it. You are the only team besides the New York Jets, Mark Sanchez and the New York Jets, to go to back-to-back AFC Championship games and no Super Bowl to show for it.
Yeah.
No Super Bowl to show for it. The Chiefs, back-to-back Super Bowl win the following year. Steelers, same thing. Patriots, same thing. Even the damn Ravens. There's only one team that has ruined it all for this conference, and that's the team that did a lot of talking. Obviously, no one even expected that from the Jets, but when And the Jets wasn't claiming supremacy. These fools was. But back to the game, it's like you did not back up your trash talk. The referee
Nope.
saved Joe Burrow from another 1-for-4 game because he knew the one thing he could not afford. When he did more talking week 1 than Mitchell Trubisky, he did more talking than Patrick Mahomes, who kept his
Always. Oh
mouth
yeah.
shut the whole damn year.
Mahomes
Who
doesn't
has
give
not
people
said a
bulletin
word?
board material. That's one
He
thing I love
doesn't.
about my quarterback. He will not give you bulletin board material.
It's like you can't do foolishness like this and then think you're
Nope.
gonna come out and win that game. I said when I rewatched that film versus Buffalo, I said there's no way in hell they're going back into Arrowhead. I would not
No.
want to play Patrick Mahomes, healthy or not,
No.
because those throws that Josh Allen missed, which is why he got the slander that he got, and rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
Patrick Mahomes is not missing. Lamar Jackson
Nope.
would have not missed those damn throws. Hell, Kenny probably would have not even missed those damn throws. And it's like, I don't understand that. I don't understand. Like, when you first heard that nonsense, what were your thoughts on that comment?
The Burrowhead one?
Yes.
Oh, I loved it actually. I was like, this is exactly the fuel that our team needs. Thank you so much for that. I welcome it. I welcome all the bulletin board material, and I know, like, so we have Patrick Mahomes' trainer, Bobby Stroop. I don't know if you watched Quarterback on Netflix. He was on that with him. He is hilarious on Twitter because he will just like, he's basically like retweeting and like bookmarking the things that he wants to like share with Mahomes, and he'll kind of say what Mahomes will never say. And so all that kind of stuff, we all like, all of us will just like bookmark it and save it for later. And so when he said that, I was like, oh, this is not going to age well, especially because like Mike Hilton, like he doesn't, he's not, sorry, you ain't crap, Mike Hilton. You haven't done hardly anything against the Chiefs. Your team has, not you. To have the audacity to call the entire stadium Burrowhead is hilarious, to not think that's going to backfire. And then, like you said, I mean, I don't know if you remember the throw Mahomes had to Marquez Valdes-Scantling in the end zone where he darted it. It was kind of a really hard throw for Mahomes to make. It was on the wire. And he darted it right to Marquez in the end zone, and it was over Mike Hilton. And I just thought that was absolutely hilarious because I was like, that is exactly what you get for talking all that trash. And then this is exactly what you get. So, like, and you know, Mahomes really played a pretty flawless game that entire AFC Championship game too. Like, I think he was like, I have to shut these guys up. I think every Chiefs player and fan was just so tired of it.
The whole AFC is tired of it, to a point that the team that we all wanted the throne, we're rooting for to win because that's how bad everyone got tired of you.
It was so tiring.
And by the way, I think I speak for all AFC North fans or those with a brain. We apologize for that sorry excuse of leadership of this division. We apologize for that.
Forgiven. You don't have to apologize for them. They're their own worst enemies right now. So I hope your division can humble them a bit this season.
Oh, we're going to. Trust me. And you know what? We're going to get into that. We're definitely going to get into that. But moving on, we speak on NFL quarterbacks and we speak on Patrick Mahomes and his contracts. Now, Aaron Rodgers was the one who paved the way. But Mahomes was the one who continued it when I believe he got a 10-year deal from the Chiefs after his Super Bowl year.
Yeah.
Ever since then, quarterbacks has been getting paid margins of money.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, 110 in fully guaranteed money at the point of the signing. 179 is guaranteed in the event of injury. Lamar Jackson, $260 million contract deal. Then you have, with 185 guaranteed, then it's Justin Herbert who just broke the market. I believe he's now getting 185.5 or somewhere around that, or 196 to be more exact.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts now on the quarterback position overall, and your thoughts on their big paydays since your guy Patrick Mahomes and his?
So, when Mahomes got paid, there was a lot of controversy around his contract, especially at the time, because we haven't seen such a big contract like that. And you're seeing those contracts now. But what you're still not seeing the amount of money he's gotten, which is $500 million over 10 years. Like, we have not seen that big of a contract still since Mahomes. You're seeing those contracts, but in lesser years. So you're seeing like the 5-year ones for Lamar and Jalen and Justin Herbert. Now it's like, it's all the 5-year stuff. And I think it is because those guys haven't led their teams to, well, they've led their team. Some of them have led their teams to Super Bowls, but they haven't won yet either. So I think if Jalen had won that one, he might have a bigger contract. But he didn't win, and it's not guaranteed that you're going to get back. I think they could. They have a great chance to, but nothing's guaranteed in the NFL. So I'm all for guys getting paid. I think it's great. I think Mahomes is really going to try to keep the. It's hard because he is, without question, the best quarterback in the league, right? So he kind of dictates that market. And when you have these guys now that are making, they're all, I think he's like the 7th or 8th highest paid now. You have a lot of guys making a lot more money than he is. But Grant, like, in Mahomes' defense, he is making so much money off the field, it's not even funny. So his quarterback money, yes, it's nice, but like, I think he's trying to do what's best and for the team and not make it so like no one else can get paid. But then also keeping the market steady, and other guys should be getting paid what they're getting paid. So I think it's kind of a struggle because he should be paid higher. And you have guys like Florio that are always like, oh, Mahomes, he's so underpaid. He's going to demand a trade if he's not paid better. I'm like, please, like, he is not. That's like the exact opposite of who he is. And he's trying to follow that Brady method of taking the lesser amount. You're going to make plenty off the field. You're going to win Super Bowls if you take a little bit less. And so I'm good with it. I say keep moving the market. That's how every position is going to be. It's going to keep changing and evolving. And he's making good money. So, it's like, I don't know. But yeah, I feel like guys like Jalen deserved it. Lamar deserved it. Justin Herbert. I'm curious to see, one guy I don't think deserved it was Cleveland Browns quarterback, who I will not name. That was an insane contract that I don't agree with. But I'm excited to see what Joe Burrow is going to get too, because the Bengals historically don't pay fantastic. And I know they have a lot of people to pay right now, and it'll be interesting to see what they can figure out. But I know Burrow, he loves to copy Mahomes, right? So he's gonna try to do that same thing where it's like, oh, let me structure my contract this way so we can whatever. But that's kind of my thoughts on I guess on the quarterback market in general. But I think contracts right now are just such a mess in the NFL. And we're also dealing with the Chris Jones situation. So that's been not fun because my quarterback is making less money. So you can pay guys like Chris Jones and you're not. So I'm not really understanding, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually glad that you brought up Chris Jones because
Let's talk
he
about
has
it.
a lot of, he has a lot of, controversy surviving, surrounding his name and contract negotiations. I'm surprised that it's taken this long for him to get his contract. So I just want to hear your thoughts on that, honestly, because I'm shocked. I'm thinking, okay, he might take less money or he might want more money because we get it. He's a top 5, top 10 player, without question, a top 3 player in his position. It's like, it's shocking.
Oh, yeah.
And, it keeps Chiefs fans on their heels because this is the name and the face of your defense. This is the guy who called the shots.
This is our quarterback of the defense.
Exactly. He is to your defense what TJ Watt is to the Steelers defense.
Yeah.
So it's plain as simple as that. So what are your thoughts on this contract controversy, and what do you think the outcome would be? If you were the Chiefs, what would you pay Chris Jones?
For one, I can't even tell you how annoying the entire situation has been. I think most of us did not expect it to get to this. I I would say the majority of Chiefs fans did not expect it to be this like holdout that it became. He is the leader of our defense. He is a main reason why we won that AFC Championship game. He's a main, I mean, he had the most sacks as a defense tackle last season. He's just been such a pillar to our team for such a long time. I really can't believe that it would even be like a question to pay him. I would pay him what he wants. I would pay him $30 million. Give him what he wants in the guarantees. I think Veach, our general manager, he has a weird way of doing contracts where he'll kind of like sneak in money in different ways that he can, like in a cash bonus or a, you know, if you can do this, then you'll earn this incentive and whatever. And I think Chris Jones isn't going for any of that. And I actually think, so his management is his agents are the Katz brothers or the Katz, whatever, Katz, the Katzes. So they actually trained under Drew Rosenhaus, which is, you know who he is. He's a big time NFL agent. So, and you know, we lost Tyreek Hill with Drew Rosenhaus. So I'm beginning to grow very weary of all of the Chris Jones stuff. I know a little scoop is he will not be at the preseason game tomorrow. I don't know when he'll show up. In my best guess, it would be for the Lions game, week 1. And then what, are you going to practice for a week beforehand and get, you know, I really don't know, but I think his agents are playing hardball. I think the Chiefs have a price they're going to offer him. He's not wanting to take that, and no one's willing to budge right now. So for something to get done, someone's going to have to budge. Chris Jones, actually the other day, we were having a Twitter space, and he responded to one of the girls in our space. And she said, he said, I have time for one question. Like, what are you going to say? And she's like, are you going to, now this was a tweet. It wasn't in our space, but he tweeted at her while she was in our space. And she said, like, are you going to play for the Chiefs this season or whatever? And he's like, or for the future, for the next few years, I think is what she said. And he's like, well, I'm under contract this season. Let's go enjoy it. Which makes me think we have him for this season. I'm not optimistic on him. I'm kind of prepared myself at this point to lose him next season because it's just sounding like that. He was, he posted a picture yesterday. I don't know if you saw that on my Twitter that I tweeted last night. He posted with Michael Bay and the big movie producer. And Michael's caption was, this guy just quit on his team, about Chris Jones. And I was like, wait a minute, what? This guy just quit on his team? Like, what are we? I'm just really tired of the cryptic posts. I'm tired of all of it. But it's funny because he's really loving the attention. He's loving like all the fans being like, we want you to stay, we want you to stay. And I don't know for sure. I think his agents are he's their biggest client, right? So if they can't get him a big deal done, then what does it say about them as agents? People aren't going to want to sign with them because, oh my gosh, you couldn't even get the best defensive tackle a deal. Like, why would we sign with you? Blah, 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 blah. So I just think there's a lot of ins and outs that go into this situation as a whole. And I don't know what's going to happen. No one, I promise you, no one knows what will happen except for Chris, his agents, and Brett Veach. And we'll just have to see how it goes. He will be a Chief this season. We'll be fine. He'll play for us. He might even have himself a hell of a year trying to earn a different contract somewhere if we don't pay him. So I would say probably 95% of Chiefs fans, our team pay him. 99%, but like there's nothing we can do. So
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks losing your top players. And the thing that keeps me on the optimistic side about this is that the Steelers were arguably in the same predicament with the TJ Watt contract, situation a few years ago,
Yeah.
eating up a little bit of Ben's contract because he was the highest paid. He was one of the
Right,
highest paid
right.
quarterbacks in football, but
Yeah.
rightfully so because that's Ben Roethlisberger. But
Yep.
I think, I don't see Chris Jones leaving. Obviously, I think when he made that post, I felt he was trolling because a lot of people are, a lot
He
of
is
people.
trolling hard.
Yeah, he's trolling, but it makes you nervous because we can all think and say, but at the end of the day, what's going to matter is what's so. And that's really what you're keeping your heels on for. It's to see like what's going to be so. Week 1 against the Lions, who obviously is going to be no joke, had a killer draft. So you guys are focused on that. You're focused on basically doing what you felt you should have done a year or two ago, which is repeat as back-to-back champions.
Yeah.
But you know that it's going to be hard to do that without your best defensive player on the field in Chris Jones, which is why you got 95% of you or 99% of you, like you said, our team pay him. Unfortunately, there's idiots in every fan base. Those who don't
Of
think that
course.
players are worth X, Y, and Z when statistically and on film, it says a whole nother story. And there's a reason for that. And that's how things are
Yeah.
documented. But we're speaking on, your fans, we're speaking on you guys. What are your thoughts on Chiefs Kingdom fan base? As obviously people will call you the queen bee of that fan base. You're one of the most followed. You're one of the most known. Obviously, you're one of them with the most acclaim and for right reasons. What are your thoughts on that fan base?
I love Chiefs fans. I think it's great. So I was born and raised in Kansas City. I've lived here my whole life. I moved to California for a few years a while ago. But I'm back in Kansas City now. And Kansas City is a special place. Like there's a lot of really good people here. Okay, so people always want to say like there were no fans before Mahomes. I think any NFL fan that's actually been an NFL fan knows that's not true. Like Chiefs fans have run deep for so long. We sat through all the bad years. We sat through the hard times. There were so many seasons where I would just be thankful we'd win a few games, and it was the Steelers and the Patriots and the Colts and Broncos. And those were the teams that ran the AFC. And the Chiefs, we were just happy to be in it at all when we could be. And so we went through years of pain. I mean, I remember Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl. I'd be like asking my dad as a kid, like, why are the Chiefs never in it? Like, why are we just never any good? But we were still there. We were still fans. And there are definitely bandwagon fans now because with any good athlete, you get that, right? Like that's just how it goes. There's Tom Brady fans. There's, just for an example, but so you're going to get that with Patrick Mahomes because he is such an electrifying player to watch and he's so special. And I feel like I'm like dreaming of the era of Chiefs football I'm in. Like I've waited so long to have a head coach like Andy Reid. We've had Travis Kelce and he's been such a blessing to our team since he's been here. And then to really have him with Patrick Mahomes, I mean, it's just such a dream. I can't believe we have Tyreek Hill at the same time, and luckily we won a Super Bowl with him too, but it's just been the best time to be a Chiefs fan. I love Chiefs fans. I think everyone really like I said, there's going to be bandwagons. There's going to be, and some of them are starting to act a little spoiled now or a little unrealistic about some things, I would say. But I'd say overall, I think Chiefs fans are some of the best in the league, and we're going to be faithful to our team no matter what. So I'm happy for what Chiefs fans are getting right now. It's been a lot of years of pain, and now we get some fun. So I'm loving it.
Exactly. And the thing is about it is like you guys been through a lot of one and done seasons.
A
And
lot.
unfortunately, it was in your home turf. So to
Yeah.
see your team finally host the AFC Championship game, to see your team finally win it, and you guys, ever since like the last one and done season, people don't know, since Mahomes became the starting quarterback, I think what people just don't seem to understand, the Chiefs have hosted at least 4 to 5 AFC conference
5.
championship games. 5 straight. Mahomes,
5
ever
straight.
since Mahomes has been, the starter, the Chiefs,
Listen,
it's been Arrowhead ever since.
he hasn't not hosted that's the worst Patrick Mahomes has done as a starter is losing in overtime in an AFC championship game at home. That's the worst he's done. In
Exactly.
overtime. The 2 times he lost at home were both in overtime.
And that's the thing. And it's like I just can't. I can't with
It's
people. And I'm like,
unreal.
there's a reason for that. There's an ultimate reason for that, because it's like when you have somebody like Patrick Mahomes, it's just listen, that tells us one thing and one thing only. The Chiefs has always been a championship team. They just needed that one final piece, and that piece, without question, it's Patrick Mahomes.
Was him. Yep.
Was him, no question, because it's getting to a point that the AFC Championship game in Arrowhead is starting to become a cultural,
The Arrowhead
addition.
Invitational. Arrowhead
Yes,
Invitational.
tradition. It's starting to become a cultural tradition, because
Yeah.
we all know, oh yeah,
It's
AFC
crazy.
Championship game. The only question at this point is who's gonna be playing the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Like, look on all your favorite sports, your sports shows. Undisputed with Skip Bayless, First Take, Speak with
He
Joy
loves
Taylor,
us.
all of them. Right. He definitely does.
Oh,
But
God.
it's like, Get Up, all these other shows. It's one question is who's gonna be playing the Chiefs this year in Arrowhead? Not Burrowhead, but Arrowhead.
Not Burrowhead.
It's like it's a tradition now. It's
Yeah.
starting to become a cultural tradition, because we're starting to look at Arrowhead the same way we was once looking at Gillette Stadium, or at one point we was looking at Heinz Field. I don't give a damn what anyone says. It is still Heinz Field. I'm not calling it Acrisure.
So
it's always gonna be Heinz Field to me.
Chiefs were Arrowhead Stadium, but GEHA bought it, so it's like now GEHA at Arrowhead. Everyone's like, no, it's Arrowhead. Like, yeah, it's Heinz. Like, no, we're not changing.
Yeah, we're not changing the names.
No.
Especially with the ketchup bottle still at the back of the
Right.
stadium.
I know.
There's a reason for that.
I
But
need to go to the Steelers Stadium. I need to go there sometime.
Hey, let me know when you're in town. I'll definitely tour you. But we speak on your quarterback. We speak on Patrick Mahomes. He is, without question, was the highest ranked player in the entire league, and rightfully so. The first quarterback since Kurt Warner, I believe, in '99 to win both the MVP and the Super Bowl MVP of the Super Bowl. With that being said,
the league MVP and the Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, MVP of the Super Bowl. Sorry for that.
No, you're
But
fine.
what were your thoughts when you first heard or seen Patrick Mahomes being ranked as the number 1 player on the NFL Top 100 list?
Just unbelievably well deserved. Like I said earlier, I'm still pinching myself that this is our quarterback and that he's won everything you can win this offseason, I think. Like, he's won the SB, he won MVP, league MVP, Super Bowl MVP. He's number 1 in the league. I mean, it's just without question. And he's so much fun to watch play football because he can make every traditional throw you want him to make, but then he can also do like everything else that no one else can. And I'm hoping that this season we get one of those behind the back passes that I'm sure you've seen. That's what I'm hoping we get to see this year in a game successfully. I wouldn't even be mad if he wanted to try it out tomorrow, but it's just unbelievably well deserved. He is without a doubt, and I would say this if I weren't a Chiefs fan, he is without a doubt the best player in the league. Like, there's no question. That's really all I can say is if he wasn't number 1, that list would have no credibility. And honestly, a lot of the list didn't have a lot of credibility, but I think they got the top 10 pretty right on it. But yeah, I think he deserves every bit of that number 1 spot. And I think he could easily earn it again next season. With Mahomes, he's just entering his prime right now. He's young. Like, people forget it's only been 5 years that he's been in the league, but because he just wins all the time, it seems like he's been in the league forever. Because all you do is hear his name, but he's ran this league since he entered it, and I think he could easily win number one again next season. I think people are going to be. I think as time goes on, he just gets smarter and smarter at playing the game of football. He is a insanely smart guy, like insanely smart. He can read the field from like the back of his head. It's crazy. He will make plays happen no matter what. Like it's effortless for him. And if he can just have a little time in the pocket, I mean, he will make a play happen. So yeah, I'm just so excited to continue watching him. And but yeah, I think that number one spot was very well earned. And I think Travis Kelce should have been a little higher, in my opinion. But you know, I digress.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you in your take on the top 100. I don't see any player that was better and more of a difference maker for their team than Patrick Mahomes. It's no question. And like for the things that we already said and the things that we continue to see, and I feel we're going to continue to see as long as Mahomes stay healthy, God is in his corner, and you know, yeah, as long as he still exists in this league. That's just that. It's certain things you're just gonna have to put up with. Patrick Mahomes is the certain thing. And the same way you feel about Travis Kelce, so I feel about Minka Fitzpatrick. I feel he should have been in that top 10, but I'm glad that they had him as the where he belonged as the highest ranked safety. Because to me, that is the best safety in football.
He is.
You
I
know,
love Minka.
no question.
He's a great player.
Yeah, I love him too. That's my guy. But we gotta talk about your Chiefs a little more here because we gotta ask this question. I gotta ask this question. Will the Chiefs finally achieve a back-to-back Super Bowl title reign this year?
So in my humble opinion, I think they absolutely can. Like I said earlier, I think the league made the mistake in letting the Chiefs win last season. I've been saying this the past year, really, is that this team is only going to get better this year. We lost a few guys, yeah, but we replaced them with people that will be equally, if not more productive. You know, we lost Orlando Brown Jr. to the Bengals, which was absolutely wild, and they have not shut up about it. It's been probably the most annoying trade I can think of in recent memory, because they think he is just this incredible, which he probably is better than what they've had at left tackle. I will give them that. But, you know, that's why Mahomes...
he's not going to make a difference for them, though. That's the thing.
He'll be fine. He's serviceable. But there's a reason. You really think the Chiefs have a $500 million quarterback, the best quarterback in the league, and they're going to let that guy walk if he's the best left tackle in the league? No. He was average at best. And we replaced him with Donovan Smith, you know, who used to block for Tom Brady. And Donovan Smith had a little bit of a rough year last season, but really that's because he was playing through injury, and I think he'll be just fine. So I'm really, if anything, I think most of our team has taken a step up. I think our defense feels way better than they did last season, and they won last season. So I see all the potential in the world for this team to get back. I think they have that fire in them. Like, they know they can do it. So I fully, and I think it's for any team, but especially when you really are a contender, nothing is good enough unless you're winning the Super Bowl on the Chiefs right now. So I know they like encourage that in every single meeting. You know, Andy Reid is calling Patrick Mahomes at 4 a.m. with different play ideas, different play calls, and they'll like talk and he's like, dude, I'm asleep, but it's, you know, but they'll still talk at 4 a.m. And it's just a different level of football. And I'm just so excited. But yeah, I think they have all the potential in the world to win again.
I definitely agree with you. It's hard to disagree. It's really hard. And if you don't think, you're just a complete idiot, because think about it. Who did the Chiefs lose that they cannot replace or they haven't already? And that's the question. And we already know how problematic they are. I just feel like if it was going to stop, you know, this early or this quick, it would have stopped when Tyreek Hill went to Miami. It didn't. Ironically, you won the Super Bowl. I saw it coming. I just didn't see no one in the AFC at the time that was is capable, not even the Bengals. I'm not such a Bengal believer as many are. And that's just that. But we speak about the AFC, we speak about teams, we brought up all of this. Who would you consider as threats to the throne in the Chiefs in the AFC, if there's any?
There's always going to be threats. And it's kind of like the Patriots of old, where every single team you play is giving you their best effort. Like, we don't have easy games because every team is going in with the mindset like, oh, we're going to beat the Chiefs. Like, we're going to give it our all. Like, and they put everything on the line to beat the Chiefs. Like, you'll have players that come back from injuries early just to play the Chiefs. And it's crazy. I mean, I would say the Chargers are big guilty of that. They put Mike Williams in last season and he was not ready. And then he made one big catch and then went down again on the first. It was like, okay, I don't know why you're putting these guys back in when they're not even ready, but they have to try because you're not going to beat the Chiefs if you're not putting in your best players. But yeah, I think, I mean, I guess you could say the typicals. I guess the Bengals are a threat because they have beat us a few times. I don't know. I think the Ravens low key could be good. I like a lot of the moves they made in the offseason, so I could actually see.
Unfortunately,
I know, right? I know. I could low key see them being a threat. I could low key see. And it's such a crazy time to be a Chiefs fan, but it's just potentially the Bills, but it depends how they handle their season. I still think if the Bills make it that far, we beat them. Potentially, I'm actually more sold on the Jets right now than I am the Dolphins, which could be a hot take. I'm not super sold on the Dolphins for some reason. I just don't see them in a Super Bowl. I just don't, with Mike McDaniel coaching. I just don't see that. I just don't see him leading them to a Super Bowl. So, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, like you said, I think Steelers could be a dark horse. Do I think they're going to challenge the Chiefs this season? No.
Playoffs, yes. Challenging the Chiefs, no.
No.
I don't think they're going to make it that far.
No. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't see a huge competitor right now, but ask me again in 8 weeks and maybe I'll have my mind changed. But at the moment, I think the Chiefs are at the top and someone's really going to have to work hard to dethrone us. The Jags could be a sleeper. I'm actually pretty high on the Jags. I like Trevor Lawrence a lot. I like Dougie P. So that could be a sleeper too. That'd be interesting. But it would take a lot. It's going to take a lot to stop this team right now.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot.
Momentum.
It's going to take a lot to stop Patrick Mahomes, period, no matter who he has around him. And Travis Kelce, please don't get me started. That's a whole nother episode. But
yeah.
Last question before, unfortunately, I have to let you go. We spoke on the sleeper teams. Who would you consider as the sleeper teams in the AFC, like the teams that should be getting talked about more and not?
Yeah, I would say probably the Steelers. I would say maybe the Chargers a little bit have been a little underrated this season. I think what happens every offseason is the Chargers get very overrated, like they have been the last few years, and then it keeps being the Chiefs. But now I feel like you're not hearing about them as much, and they do have a different offensive coordinator. I think they could be a little bit of a sleeper. I think the Jags are going to be really good. I think one of those AFC South teams is going to be good aside from the Jags. I just don't know which one. But I think there's some potential down there, and we'll just have to see. But I feel like everyone's really high on every team in the North and the East, except for the Patriots. And
that's ironic saying that.
I know it really is, but I think you're gonna have some disappointments over there. Like, not everyone's gonna be as good as they're made out to be at the moment. So
Oh, I got a good feeling about who one team can be, but you know what? I'll save that for another show. I'll
But
save that for another show.
for sure. And I also think there's some people that are high on the Broncos this year. I am not at all. At all. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. But they haven't beat us since 2015, so
Yeah, I can see why. It's been a hot minute, and even before Mahomes, you guys were pretty much their kryptonites, and it's only gotten worse in Mile High ever since.
And did you see Russell Wilson last night? He was terrible.
Oh, actually, no, I didn't even watch the games last night. Unfortunately, I was on the clock. I couldn't even watch my Steelers like that last night. I'll actually have to rewatch the game tonight. But
it took him four drives to score against the Cardinals' second string defense. I'll just say that.
Well, I'm going to say this. It's going to be a very interesting 2023 season.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of teams that might surprise people. I'm picking my Steelers to be one.
Yeah.
Your Chiefs, I feel, are gonna stay where they are. You know, I don't see them not making it back to the Super Bowl because, like I said, my Steelers are not ready. Or like we both pretty much can agree with, my Steelers are not ready. We're ready for the playoffs, yes. Maybe the AFC Championship game, but the Super Bowl, not so much. Yeah. I don't think so. No, I'm not. No, you can't get ready with only 2 years. Like, this ain't the Big Ben era where he's playing plug-in. It's clear what they're doing, and I actually like what they're doing because it creates a more longevity project that will that will bring more value. So I'm definitely sticking patient. But Lexi, that's all I have for you. If you guys haven't, please give Lexi here a follow on Twitter at Lexi Osborne, as she will continue to cover the Chiefs on her podcast, Kingdom Queens Pod, and she will continue to drop her takes and definitely will be giving you more takes on the AFC, as her team is the team to beat. AFC is right around the corner. NFL is right around the corner as we are in the preseason. This is your host, May Shayla, signing out, and this has been the Mike Bomb Podcast. Welcome to the Mike Bomb Podcast, the podcast where the bombs get thrown. Thank you for tuning in to the latest episode. This is your host, May Shayla, exiting out. But before I do, I would like to take the time to thank everyone who has subscribed, followed, and listened to the podcast, and for your overall support and love. If you are interested in getting more news and updates about the podcast, such as new episodes, new seasons, you can now subscribe and follow the podcast on your favorite platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora Radio, Google Podcasts, and much more. Or you can visit www.themikebomb.com for news updates within your favorite sport leagues, along with more news about the podcast. Thank you for your support, and see you next episode.
This is my night, this is my